rAVe Radio. With rants and raves, you'll be okay. And today is your lucky day. It is rants and raves with Gary K.
Hey everyone, this is Gary K, and thanks for joining me for a special video edition of my Rants and Raves. I've got a special guest today, Parrish Chapman, who's the Director of Enterprise Retail Sales Key Accounts at Samsung. Parrish, how are you?
Doing great, Gary. Thanks for having me today. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, we had a great time in New York City about a month ago at the NRF show, which was my first trade show being back, and Samsung had a great presence there. Congratulations on everything going on over at Samsung.
Yeah, it was a great event, and we really enjoyed it. And our motto right now is "You're open, and we're open," and that's really what we're trying to focus on is supporting clients.
Well, digital signage has been a big part of that, especially in retail, specifically healthcare as well, where digital signage just plays a big part in helping them stay open and reopen. There's a lot of trends there, like stuff has happened, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff has happened. In fact, I did a webinar. I don't know if you know this or not. I did a webinar yesterday for Almo that Samsung was nice enough to sponsor, where I talked about not just the growth of the digital signage market, but where the opportunities were pre-COVID and post-COVID, because there's some new things that came out of COVID, some innovation that came out of COVID, where digital signage is making a big difference. You want to address some of those because you've got a lot going on at Samsung.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit upon it, Gary, so well that during the pandemic and post-pandemic, I call it the dance phase right now.
Yeah,
everybody's problem became the same, right? And I think before this, we kind of thought we had individual problems at these enterprise level, even hospital, healthcare, enterprise office. But what happened is we really needed some solutions to solve core problems, right? And I think number one, reducing friction points and providing information quickly became top of mind, right? And digital signage can do that for you.
Yeah.
The other thing I think that happened was the integration and hosted solutions going to market very quickly and ease of use became very important, right? And then the integration of other platforms like social media, to be able to take people's temperatures automatically, and then the ability to understand how to host and manage the equipment and monitor it from afar has been very popular for us.
Yeah, so it's more what you're alluding to here is there's a lot more opportunity in digital signage than just selling the hardware, the services that back it up, the management, and also the creative, right? I mean, the parts of the creative, like the connecting of social media to signage. You actually have a social media display, which is quite unique. Tell me a little bit about some of the partnerships and sort of how you've been able to go beyond the display itself.
Yeah, Gary, I think that the number one question we ask our clients, why don't we treat our physical brick and mortar like a website? And we need to have several components to do that. Number one, we need to track the effectiveness of digital signage with analytics.
Yep.
We can't get investment if we don't understand how to spend and the improvements or where people are traveling inside of physical locations, right? Can digital signage get you to stay there 3 minutes longer? Can we get you to go somewhere else in a physical location? So we want to understand, like you would a website, what's happening inside your physical location. And then we worry about tech obsolescence, right? And Samsung, known for our displays, we're not really concerned with that. We're no longer restricted by the canvas. We have all different sizes. We have different pixel pitch, so we have that covered. But our concern really is piping in the right information, reducing friction points for customers and employees. And that's where social comes in and the analytics. So let's talk about social for a second. Social is really growing. Social commerce is very important. Brick and mortar retailers need to have a part of social. And so what we can do now, we can bring in Google reviews. So when you're shopping right in front of you, it's okay to use your mobile device, but what if we can have a great experience right in front of you, in front of the product, and you can self-educate, right? A lot of times we want to reduce the friction of labor, and people want to shop themselves and self-educate, and that's what the social display is about. It's about user-generated content. Oh my gosh, how great is this, right? The ability to bring in wonderful, thought-provoking, and fans say some of the best things. I've learned this from social media. Some of their quotes and content are just fabulous. So we're taking all the negative away and only focusing on the positive. So then you have great user-generated content. You're in front of the product. You have a world-class display. And you can change the content automatically. Social listening. And here's where I think that it became so awesome. You can listen to social media, what people are talking about, and then you can change content based on those trends, right?
Yeah.
So that's all in front of the customer. But the things we're doing now with it, we have a crew break area display for social. We talk about trends, social events, and also you can learn about how your store is perceived in the marketplace. And that's very powerful when your employees see that, right? And then for enterprise office, you could do the same thing. You could have, the good things brands are doing in public with donations and helping people out in the community. And then in healthcare, you can have fundraising, number of babies born and really the positive things. So it applies to every one of the verticals we're talking about today.
How, let me ask you this. How does, Samsung, if I'm an integrator and I've been doing digital signage and I've been just basically doing hang and bang kind of stuff, but I really want to get into the connectivity of all this stuff that you're talking about, like connecting it to social media, generating better content. Is that something that Samsung can help me out with? Like, do I go to my local Samsung rep or where can you point me that I can go to sort of start on this journey to amp up what I'm doing in signage?
I think Samsung about 3 years ago really looked at ourselves and said, what are we doing being a large, it's one thing to be a big brand, but what are we really doing to create moments and doing consulting? Because we see so many things. I see things on a global because I'm lucky enough to see these trend data. Yeah. And so each one of our employees, our CAMs, even our marketing teams, we're really looking at trend data. And you really can go to your Samsung rep and they can quarterback the right person to get to really learn about these trends. And we even started publishing reports about what's happening in retail and what's happening in healthcare. But it goes beyond the display. We want to be that support mechanism to help you make great decisions no matter who you are, right? So that's really what we're trying to achieve.
And what was interesting to me and what you definitely demonstrated the NRF show, which is the National Retail Federation, was that you have point of sales displays that are really small, touch-based, or right there on the counter that can be digital signage displays at the same time. They can generate content in between the transaction, all the way through the large format, large outdoor LED. You have micro LED, you have flat panel display, you got every indoor and outdoor size. You're one of those true turnkey suppliers of everything. And what you're talking about now is helping with the infrastructure and helping with sort of generating, because the future of this stuff, as you said, is going to be in the services, and you're going to sell more displays. If I'm an integrator, I'm going to sell more displays naturally by helping my clients generate more content and using the display, because it's only as good as the content that's on it at that moment in time. Are there any trends? You said you're producing some reports with regard to trends. Are there any trends that we should be watching? You mentioned a few already, obviously.
So I think social media, you need user-generated content. You need fresh content. You need authentic, believable content. When I talk about Samsung, people are saying, "Now that Paris guy, I don't know," but when somebody on social media says something great about Samsung, and they do it very cleverly, it's wonderful and it's fresh. So I think I'm excited about social because of fresh content, right? And you don't have to do anything. It's automatic, right? With the right kind of software. I think the other trend we need to be aware of is creating technology or treating it in a way like a tech buffet. Our clients need to utilize the tech based on the use case. So when you talk about the different size screens and the different reducing friction points with POS and our new kiosk that is very cost effective, that is a kiosk for everybody, endless aisle, POS, return merchandise. So we're starting to see these technologies used in new ways. And let me give you an example. You buy online and pick up in the store. How can we help you? You automate the reverse back into the store by automating returns with Samsung Interactive. People think they don't want to touch interactive. That's not true. Our interactive is reducing friction points, and you can stand it up in weeks now with the software, right? And I think that's really the thing, that it has to be stackable. What you start with today in healthcare, retail, or enterprise office, you need to be able to have tech obsolescence and change it. And that's one thing, the trends we're seeing with the technology is that people are very concerned about locking in and not having a way to be flexible with their tech.
So I'm gonna actually put a link into the webinar I did yesterday into the description of this podcast below, but I'm also going to link Samsung's got you actually have a landing page specifically in and around signage and all the applications, and actually everything we talked about today is encompassed in that site. I'll put a link to that as well, Parrish. I really appreciate you joining me today. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Gary, thanks for having us. And we're so excited about the future. and what we're trying to do and support our clients and all our partners out in the U.S. And so we really do appreciate the time to talk about it. And this is an exciting time, and thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. And of course, to learn more about digital signage, you can always read our digital signage newsletter. It's called rAVe DS. And of course, check out the link below directly to the Samsung digital signage microsite. Thanks for joining me.
rAVe Radio with rAVe.